Hey, welcome back. We were talking recently about phishing and breaches, and I want to expand a little more on that. How to pay attention to slow down and really look at your emails, and how do you recognize if it's legit or not? That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to go to this website. You've seen me bring you here before. This is Troy Hunt's HaveIBeenPwned.com. And this is a great way you can check to see if you've been compromised in a data breach using your email address. And how we know that this is a safe place to enter this information is that there is a padlock up here. We can click on that in our Chrome browser, and it tells us our connection is secure and that it has a valid certificate. And you can see that this is telling us that the information we enter in this website is going to be encrypted back and forth. So HaveIBeenPwned.com, we're going to start here. And here's my test email address you've seen me use before. You're going to enter your own email address in here and click the pwned question mark button. And in this case, we really want to just focus on the information for our test email. And you can see it's been in 74 breaches and at least 32 pastes. So what that means is out in the wild, on the dark web, whether it's indexed, that's all the dark web means, is it is or isn't indexed by Google and other search engines. And this information is publicly available and exposed. Know that breaches are typically not always reported to the media or to the general public. And when they are, they usually have happened 90 days to a year or longer in the past by the time it's published. One of the major breaches here in the United States that you're not going to see on Troy's website right now is the Equifax breach. And that one is huge. There's 160 million plus people here in the US, and a lot of information was exposed. Social security numbers, financial account numbers, financial accounts, how much money, when they got loans. And it's very important to be aware of what information you have, what information you have personally put out there, where you've used it, what passwords you have, what kind of protections, and then to go through this website and be aware of what information is exposed in the wild. So what I want you to pay attention to in this page here is the compromised data underneath each. It will give you a list of what data for this person was exposed. And make yourself a list and be aware of what information someone has and can use against you in all kinds of ways, to sell you things, to get money out of you, to communicate with your friends, neighbors, and family. Here's an interesting one: email addresses, genders, names, passwords, usernames. So for this particular email account, the My Email at Gmail, the name, email, password, the physical address, meaning where they live, the username, if they don't use their username, email address has a different kind of a funky name, their employers, their job titles, their phone numbers, salutations or pronouns. You saw gender in there. Social media profiles, which a public social media profile could be what they ate, where they've traveled, pictures of their family. And something that comes up here over and over again is IP addresses. So we can be aware that people have our date of birth and all this other information, but what is the IP address? Why do we care about if that IP address is out there in the wild? That presents a little bit of information that you might not be aware of. And so with that, I'm going to go to another website here, ip-tracker.org. And you can see here again, we have the lock in the upper left-hand corner on our Chrome browser. So we can see that the connection here is secure. They have a valid certificate. And we can see that anything we enter in this website is going to be encrypted. So you can see here that with this website, it's able to read my IP address. And what an IP address is, like a phone number or a thumbprint that attaches directly to my internet connection. It's an internet protocol address. And you can, if you remember from previous videos, I'm using a VPN when I'm on the web, all times. I don't go on the web on my phone or my computers without using a VPN. So this gives me an extra layer of encryption protection. And I can even choose where I want my VPN to be pointing or coming from or appearing from. So right now it's US East, but if I want to look like, for whatever reason, I'm from another area, I can change my IP address to appear from another country, but what I need to be aware of is the latency. And the latency is the delay, how long it will take for pages to load and information to go back and forth. And this is milliseconds. It doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it can be. It absolutely can be. And it's going to show you some websites will break and not work if they believe that I'm coming from, say, China or something. A lot of things change if I change my IP address to some of these other countries, but there's definitely some reasons why people might do that. So right now I'm in US East, and US East is interesting because it will choose different areas as a region that are different from where I'm located. So it's a large section of the Northeast section of US. So using the IP tracker first, the IP tracker is interesting because it's going to be able to pull up information about your computer you might not realize is being leaked by your IP address. And so here's my IP address in the search bar, and you just go ahead and trace it. And you'll see that what it's able to find out is I'm using a Chrome browser, what version of the Chrome browser I'm using, that my browser language is English, and that I'm using Windows 10 on this computer. You can see that my IP location is showing up Secaucus, New Jersey, my potential like phone number, area code, metro area, that I'm on the Northeast or Eastern time zone, and when the sunset, sunrise typically is for me, and where I might be on a map. My IP is showing that I speak English, or I'm using a lot of things in English, and I typically, my currency is the US dollar. So that's a lot of really interesting information here that could be used to populate a lot of interesting information on websites, on ads, in emails, phone calls. That IP is providing an awful lot of information. And again, of course, the IP locator is just to find where a computer or your router or the owner and name of the computer are. Now, my VPN is not going to populate all of this information, but it is going to show that I'm in Secaucus, New Jersey somewhere, and populate a map, whereabouts on the map I might be. And what's interesting is this is coming from my VPN. I am not actually located in New Jersey at all. In fact, not even close. So I just want to show you really quick. Let's see, I'm going to jump to Montreal and tell my VPN that I want to be from Montreal. And we'll see if I can get this website to pick this information up. And there it is. It actually shows I'm in Quebec, Montreal, and my internet service provider is this Total Server Solutions. It's picking up that I speak English and French. I'm on a corporate internet, and ooh, look, all of a sudden, without actually physically moving, my VPN has now changed my location completely. What didn't change, though, I'm going to show you is the IP tracker. Is the IP is actually still going to show up that I'm using Chrome, and something about New Jersey is still going to sit there because it recognizes the thumbprint from before, and it's able to track. Well, I was in New Jersey and somehow I just ended up in Canada. Isn't that odd? So being aware that using a VPN every time you go on the internet is going to help you an awful lot. And certainly something you want to make sure that you do. Now, I'm going to switch over to another screen because I want to show you, just be patient just a second. I'm going to show you one of my email addresses. It's an old one from a very long time ago, and I just leave it active. I generally don't use it, but I want to show you what happens with these breaches and this information that's out there, is especially with Equifax, is the kind of emails that I start to get and what they look like. Now in Outlook, as you may notice here, Microsoft Outlook, it does have a preview pane, so I can see the email on the left side, some information about it, and if I click on it, it shows the email here, but you'll notice I have picture download turned off. You do not automatically download the pictures. So that way that I'm able to read and see more about the email that helps me see if it's fraudulent or not. and this may be helpful for you. But I want you to see something, that if I do in fact download some of these pictures, just how legitimate these emails look. So if you have HTML emails turned on, wow, that looks like a really legitimate email. It looks like a genuine sales request. But wait a minute, did I reach out to them? I mean, it does say this isn't an advertisement, but why are they advertising to me about life insurance or in this case, this is pet odors and keto fuel and a real estate company. Here's the future of my retirement account is at risk, and they're trying to get me to invest or something. There's a lot of advertisements that are just pretty ridiculous. Saving money on things. There's definitely interesting stuff here. So being aware that this is just garbage, junk mail. This is your typical phishing, where they may or may not have some information about me, but I know that this is just junk. When in doubt, delete. Don't click on emails. Even these unsubscribes, this is a bad idea. These unsubscribes, you're basically telling them that they found a legit email address, and this is the way to keep getting in touch with you. So really don't go for these unsubscribe buttons. When in doubt, just delete, and just delete them. Go through them and just delete them. You might see a spam button in your email provider, and that's reasonable, but ultimately what you're going to want to use is just the delete button in many cases. So just to recap, what we're talking about is you were involved in a breach, you know what information you put out there, you're very careful, and then you look to see, using Troy Hunt's website, Have I Been Pwned, what information is out there in the wild? What do people know about you? How can they use it against you? Pay attention, make yourself a list. This is the stuff that's out there in the wild. So you can be aware when you start getting more and more junk mail in your mail, it's because your physical address and information about you is out there. Pay attention to phone calls you get and be aware that the person on the other end of the line already knows where you live and might ask you things like, oh, can I verify your address? And they'll start by giving you the beginning part of your address because it's already out there. You know what information is out there in the wild. You can be more careful and more cautious. If someone calls you and says they're from the IRS or the Social Security Administration, it's a scam. It's just flat out a scam. They're not going to call you. They're never going to call you. If someone says, I don't really know who you are, absolutely say no. Ask them, is there another way you can verify my identity? I don't feel comfortable giving that over the phone. And if they say no, then ask them to send something in the mail and wait to see what shows up, and really look to verify that the physical mail piece is in fact coming from who you believe it should be coming from. Don't give that kind of information over the phone. So go to Troy Hunt's website and look at that. Pay attention to what information is in the wild and what information you put out there. And once you have those pieces, when you get your email and you get your physical mail and you get phone calls, you can be more diligent and cautious. You want to think and pause, slow down, take an extra second or two to really look at what's being sent to you. Too good to be true. You didn't apply for a loan. You're not looking for financing. A big hot scam that's out there right now is that your Social Security number is going to be invalidated or something. It's just a bunch of hogwash. It's absolute baloney. It's not going to happen. Watch out for your elderly relatives and friends and neighbors, because they are very susceptible to these kinds of things. They don't typically expect people to be malicious and callous, and they're very openly trusting and will give information to the wrong people. You see that in some cases, people are saying, oh, well, if you give me this information, we'll get a bunch of gift cards and we'll give these gift cards to pay bills. I mean, this is like so scammy and so baloney. Most younger people are aware, wow, that's super sketchy, but older people really don't understand the way the world works now, and we need to reach out and help protect them. So when in doubt, delete. The best thing you can do is delete. I know that some email providers offer a spam button, and that's something you can do, but just delete. Get in the habit of deleting the emails, delete, delete. Throw out your mail. And I don't have a mail piece right now, but when you get mail, one of the things you can look at that really helps you with physical mail to know if it's legitimate or not is to look where the postage stamp is in the upper right-hand corner. And there's some words there. If it says pre-sort standard, right off the bat, it's junk mail. It's your name and address has been sold to a company and it's being used, and no matter how legitimate that piece of mail looks, everybody got it. Everybody on your street got that letter. So think about that. It's not foolproof. Some companies will still pay for first class mail and send you some junk trying to buy a car you got rid of 5 years ago. But pre-sort standard 100% is bulk mailing that goes to every address, every address. So watch out for that and just pitch that stuff. Burn it, throw it away. Make sure you shred your name or at least take a black marker, and because dumpster diving is still a thing. And with that, I'll see you next time.